Okay folks, greetings. This is the, I think, last video before I head off for a month in China. Woo! So quick update about what's going on in the shop and with the business, and it's all good news. So I just wanted to give you a quick run through of the various state of the projects that we've got in the go, and then I'm going to finish with some very, very big, extremely exciting news that's a great kickoff for the Year of the Dragon. So sticking with the Asian theme, as everybody should know, we do a lot of Yamaha conversions and BMW conversions. And by conversion, what I mean is we get a bike in like this. In this case, it's what they refer to as a second generation Yamaha FJR 1300. This is the police spec that New South Wales uses. So obviously a single seat and a radio box. And obviously when you have a partner or somebody else's partner wants to ride with you, you need a second seat on there. So a big part of what we do is the pillion conversions, which, as you've seen in previous video, requires stripping off basically the seat, this radio box, those three panels in the back, the rear crash bars, removing all the wiring, adding pillion pegs, adding brand new police white panels for the back, a rider and pillion seat plus luggage. So in a nutshell, that's it. As you know from previous videos, there's a bit to it. It's not just as easy as I've made it sound. So this is a big part of my business. We've done hundreds, I guess. I don't know. Certainly tens of these conversions. And it's all makes and models, from the venerable BMW K100 to the K1100, even Honda ST1100 around the 2000s, K1200s in the mid-2000s, right the way up to these, and the R1200 BMW and the R1250s. Plus, of course, we do the restoration of the civilian bikes like the Z1000 Mark II and the Z1100. What a lot of you don't know is the volume of business that we do, and it is a lot of these kits. But in a big way, this goes to the sort of bread and butter work that we do to keep the lights on, even though there's only a few of them here. We'll get to that in a moment. But it also allows us to have fun with some really interesting projects like this Mark II and the Z1100. Well, this is another one of those interesting projects that you see in front of you. This was bought along with essentially 1.5 bikes, so the engine and drive line plus wheels and some other bits and pieces, for two Z650s. That one's a 78 and the other one is an F model, which is a 1980. They look very, very similar. Slight differences in the rear caliper, but basically they're the same bike. When we were going through, and the reason we purchased these bikes was because we had to finish that police Z650, which was missing some stuff. We had to finish the 1978, so 1 year newer than this, the 1978 Z1000 A1 New South Wales police bike, and we only use OEM stuff there. And we also needed some bits for the 1976 Z900, so it made sense to make a bulk purchase of parts. And thank you very much to the chap that came to the deal, putting that parts deal together for me, because essentially what I got was, as I mentioned, 1.5 of these, and they're awesome bikes. The 650s are a very underappreciated classic, but rapidly becoming, drawing a lot of interest, so that's good. But it also came with its 1977 Z1000 A1. And these are a one-off bike, as I've mentioned in previous videos. They're front-mounted calipers. There's a number of changes electrically. This, as you can see, is not it's no longer a pile of parts. This is in fact nearly a running bike. And by nearly, I mean we've got the final bits and pieces, put some oil in it, put filters in, adjust the clutch, etc., bleed the brakes, those sorts of things. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do that before I leave for China. There's just not enough time, and I don't want to rush. This looks amazing. But one of the reasons I'm going to focus on this bike in this video is the owner of this bike, who coincidentally is also the owner of that bike, which is a 1978 Z650, loved the early Kawasaki colors. So this color scheme is a tribute, I think is the best way to describe it, to the 1974 Z1900. It's a modern take on that color scheme because this is a direct copy of the current model, the sort of reborn retro classic that Kawasaki came out which is the Z900 RS. So this color scheme is on that current model. Well, the owner of this bike and that bike also has that model. So we've done a custom batch of paint with the pinstriping, and you can see it's a beautiful yellow, white, metallic green. It just pops in the sunshine. It looks so amazing. So this bike, which is again the 77 Z1000 A1, that bike, which is the 78 Z650, happens to be a C2, and his current 2023 Kawasaki Z900 RS are all going to be done in the same color scheme. So it's a really, really cool result. And this bike, which was pretty ugly and missing a bunch of stuff, is really, really close to being the beautiful beast that she really would have been back in the day. As I mentioned, other than service work, really the only stuff to do is change this out for a re-chrome trim ring, give it a damn good wash, obviously, tension adjustment on the chain. And it's a mixture, I think a really respectful mixture of classic Kawasaki Z1000 pieces that are OE and modern reproduction to keep the price sort of within a budget that's not going to have grown men crying in the back of the garage and have their wives angry. So this is a very, very nice combination. It's not a matching numbers bike, and the owner knows that. So by matching numbers, I mean, I got in touch with Kawasaki Japan, and this is the only authority, so Kawasaki Heavy Industries, via the Australian Customer Service Group, who checked the frame number. This is pre-VIN, so VIN wasn't introduced till 88, so these have a frame number and an engine number. And the engine and frame are too far apart to have been on the same bike. Now, interestingly to note, and with the recent scandal at Mecum auctions about I think it's called like a Z750 or something, where you would normally check, being a discerning buyer, and in Australia it's a little bit different, is up around the headstock here. You have a serial number that comes from Kawasaki. So in verifying all of this, like we do due diligence to make sure it's not stolen, but also because we want to have that peace of mind, so when we talk to the owner or prospective buyer, we know the provenance of the bike. So by a reasonable mixture of OE and new, things like the handlebar controls, electrical system, clamps, the gauges, all these sorts of things, the petrol tank and bodywork are all genuine Kawasaki, as are the carbs, and the engine obviously has been completely overhauled. The original exhaust system is Kawasaki, but we've gone for things like reproduction wheels because getting the original ones to straightened and re-chromed is prohibitively expensive. Reproduction shocks, reproduction indicator set, same thing with the tail light, but the actual light itself, the housing and bracket, is all original. So there's a really good mixture of stuff. I think it's turned out lovely, and credit to the new owner for coming up with the decision to have all three bikes, match and have this beautiful color scheme. So yeah, just a quick walk around with me shutting up, and I'll let you soak in the color. Badge is on order here. That's an original tank badge. So we've again tried to keep original stuff. That's in used but honest condition right there. And we've got an original side cover badge on this side. Again, used but honest condition. So we've got a reproduction badge on order for here. And then we've got a side cover reproduction badge on order for that one. But as I say, I think it's gorgeous. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's a lot of hard work, particularly on a day that's 37 degrees and God knows what percentage humidity, but she's absolutely gorgeous. Again, congratulations to the new owner. My thanks to everybody involved in restoring this, especially Mark and James. As always, Mark in the workshop and James, who is our auto elect, for bringing this thing back from the dead. She is going to be an absolutely beautiful beast and is already very much looking the part. So stay tuned for this and many, many more updates, including the other 650 over here, That's a police one, obviously, and we've got screens and stuff on order. And then lots of updates about this. Now, I promised that I would give you the real deal about what's going on and the big news that I've been hinting about. So let me flip the camera around, and apologies. I am very, very sweaty and it's extremely hot, but this one is worth putting my face on camera. At least I think so. So, hi everybody, first of all. The big news is this. I have for about the last couple of years been looking for a proper commercial property to purchase. As you can see, the shop is full and has been getting fuller and fuller and fuller, which is a wonderful problem to have. Things are sort of accelerated, or I want to say out of control. It feels that way sometimes, but they've accelerated to the point where we now have storage on the stairs, which I detest, and we've got all of this storage up here as well. So it's got to the point it's not really viable anymore to have this much concentration of things in the workshop and not have them organized properly. So without further ado, the really, really big news is, officially as of tomorrow, I will be the owner of a new property down in West Gosford, right on Manns Road. I will share the details once the contracts have exchanged, but we'll be moving there probably mid-May, and that will be the home of Police Bikes and its parent company, the Hyperactive Group, from that point forward. So it's amazing news. It's really, really exciting, and it moves my business from, well, this isn't a hobby location, but it feels that way sometimes, into a proper workshop with street signage and storage and stuff like that. So, not a bad move the day before that I go on holiday. So, congrats to me. Thanks again to everybody for all your support. Great comments, really good ideas. We've got some amazing projects coming up. So, stay tuned. I'll give you one last look around the workshop, and I'll catch you on the other side. Thanks again, everybody. Happy Year of the Dragon, and I'll send you an update from China. Back to the shop, and I'll catch you in the next video.